You're listening to the Social Selling Simplified podcast. Stick around if you too are obsessed with learning things that actually work and believe that success leaves clues. We're all about identifying results-producing roadmaps and getting super clear on how to scale and grow your online business. From part-timer to president, social selling expert Ashley Shaw will help you connect the dots and take the guesswork out of what works to grow a social selling empire. It's time to hear from social selling legends, listen in on truthful conversations, and learn the best tips and tricks to reduce the marketing overwhelm so you can build the social selling business of your dreams. If you're ready to go all in, no holding back, and build the business you've always wanted, you're in the right place. Here's your host, educator, social selling guru, and fitness industry OG, Ashley Shaw.
Welcome to Social Selling Simplified. I'm your host, Ashley Shaw, and today I have Sherisse Marie here. And Sherisse is a Pinterest specialist, so exciting, and she helps entrepreneurs supercharge their marketing strategy using Pinterest so they can create the income and impact of their dreams. She loves getting paid to pin pretty pictures and creating high converting funnels. And what Sherisse and I were just talking about before this is this is the perfect conversation for you to listen today if you're looking to drive more people to your Facebook groups and you're trying to set up a highly converting funnel, which is all things we've been talking about in Business Bootcamp. So thank you so much for being here today, Sherisse.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you. Yeah, I love talking about funnels and I love talking about Pinterest. So it's if you just give me the microphone, I'll just chat.
I would love that because I'm Pinterest is one of those things that I'm yeah, I get it because I'm pinning baby stuff and rooms and all these things. But obviously there's some deeper methods behind this and how to actually use it in a more strategic way. So I'm super excited to dive in. And so let's just start with some general questions about Pinterest. And, with your business, where is sort of the best place to start with Pinterest?
The best place to start with Pinterest is probably with Facebook groups and free offers. They are the things that are going to kind of you're going to be able to tweak them a little easier, knowing that Pinterest is not an immediate kind of results thing. Pinterest it's a slow burn. It's you're watching that fuse on the Looney Tunes show. It's one of those things where you're watching it kind of slowly burn and then it suddenly just kind of goes poof and you take off. Generally, I tell people between 2 to 4 months is how long you're going to want to plan that it's going to take to really start to see that traffic bump. And it's interesting that you said that you were, using Pinterest to plan your coming baby, because that is absolutely one of the big things that Pinterest is really good for is planning. There are about 200 million monthly users who look at a couple of billion pages every month, and they generally are women of a certain age between 22 and 55 who are planning something. Maybe they are planning a life event. Maybe they are planning to get healthier. Maybe they are planning to leave their husband. Maybe they are planning to get a husband. Maybe they are planning to, whatever it is. They're using Pinterest to plan that. 87% of Pinterest users use Pinterest to plan their next thing. Of those, I think it's around 60% or 80%, somewhere in there, have actually bought something using Pinterest to plan it. They've clicked right off of Pinterest onto a landing page and bought the thing, or you got the free thing or whatever. They've converted. And that's huge. And Pinterest users are almost 4% times more likely to actually convert on that landing page than a normal cold traffic. And the traffic is fantastic because the average cost per order or income per order is about double what it is off of a regular lead. So it's a really great traffic. So if you can convert it, you're doing good. If you can just get the eyeballs on it.
So there's two things that you said I want to make sure I understand. So they're 4 times more likely to buy.
Almost, yeah.
Almost on Pinterest. And then the other stat that you shared was about the cost per, did you say conversion or cost?
The cost per order averages between $140 and $180 per cart.
Okay.
That's huge.
So that's the average order that a Pinterest user will spend on Pinterest. Yeah, that's like
off of Pinterest onto your thing.
Yeah. Onto your landing page, right? Okay, that's amazing. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, for sure. Because like usually when people come across you, it does have that time of like building trust and rapport and these sort of things. So the fact that you're able to convert like one with that higher, like that 4 times is likely, but then that average dollar, that's really important too, because I think there's a lot of influencers out there that feel like, oh, like I hear all the time my product is too expensive and all this sort of stuff. So it is interesting that psychology, because like there is a different mentality when you're like surfing Facebook versus when you're surfing Pinterest. Like Pinterest
Absolutely.
is aspirational, right? You're like looking for things to like add to your, like you're almost in that like, definitely that aspirational mindset. You're looking almost for stuff to buy to add into that.
Yeah, it's like the prettier version of Amazon.
Yeah.
But not just for buying stuff. Like it's buying dreams basically, which is cool, right? The thing to know really about Pinterest is that it's not actually a social media site.
Yeah.
It isn't. It is a search engine, and it is a visual search engine. So it is this weird hybrid combination of Google and Amazon in a much prettier, much more user-friendly, and much less threatening way. So it feels like a safe space to go look. Like I'm sure that you have, being that you're having a baby, I'm sure that you have gone onto Pinterest, found a few things, and clicked on a pin to see how much or whether they'll ship to you, or have you even bought anything off of Pinterest? I'm curious.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I have. Like there was this one diaper bag that like I could not find anywhere. And I had seen it. It was probably through someone's Instagram post, but it was like getting anything shipped to Canada is like the worst right now. Like either people won't ship here or you have to pay a crazy amount of duty. And we live right on the border. So we used to be able to just go over all the time and like pick up stuff. So like I have been like hunting for this bag, and that like Pinterest was one of those places I was like, okay, like I should be able to find it here. Cause yeah, like you said, it's this search engine and you usually can find somewhere in there a pay link.
Absolutely. Yeah. As a fellow Canadian, I totally am there with you, except that I'm a few more hours north of the border because I'm out near Edmonton. So it's like
nice.
Way far away from where the border is. It's like a day's trip each direction, and then you're in Montana, which doesn't have anything anyways.
Yeah.
So I totally get where you're coming from with the whole, how do you find a company that will ship to Canada? Well, Pinterest is a good option for that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's a smaller retailer, because they're more willing to make those, especially right now with everything that's going on, they're more willing to make those concessions and be like, yeah, I'll do that for you.
Yeah, totally. So when you're building out your Pinterest strategy, then if you're someone that is just starting out into this, what are the best ways that if you were to kind of break it down for us into daily, weekly, or monthly habits, what are the things you need to be doing in order to scale your reach on Pinterest?
Okay. The first thing that you need to do is, there's a bunch of things that you need to do. You need to know what your keywords are so that you know what your target is for each of the things that you are trying to sell. You need to have a set of probably 20 pin templates that you use for each of your things. So you have to kind of have an idea of what those pins are going to look like beforehand so that you can just then plug and play every time. Also need to be using Tailwind. I can't stress enough that if you are trying to manually pin on Pinterest, you will go crazy and you will not see the results because you're not pinning at the optimal times. You're not pinning consistently enough. You're not, just so many things can go wrong if you're trying to manually pin as opposed to just kind of, setting it and forgetting it. The other nice thing about Tailwind is really with Tailwind, in under an hour a month, you're totally scheduled for a month or longer, which is fantastic from a time saving standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can go absolutely crazy and spend months and months and months doing it, or, hours every day, which oh my God, social media, don't even get me started. Or you can spend an hour a month and be done with it. Now, another really great thing about Tailwind is that they have something called Tailwind Tribes. They are renaming it because the whole BLM thing has really brought a spotlight onto all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But they have this fantastic thing that they're currently calling Tribes, which is where you can find groups of like-minded people on Tailwind or their Pinterest specialists on Tailwind who are also pinning things that your audience might like and who might be willing to share your things. So the way that I like to use Tribes is I use Tribes to find all of the content for all of my clients because that is a win-win because they know that those pins are reasonably fresh. They know that the links still work. Oh my God, don't get me started on the links that no longer work. They know that they're going to be reciprocated. So the way that Tribes work is you share something and then the person that you shared, they get notified that you were sharing their stuff. So then they get the option to go look at all of your things and share your things with their people. So it's this really synergistic kind of way of growing your audience and reaching more people without having to be really spammy about it, which is fantastic.
I love that. So I have a couple of questions to dig into these things that you've just shared.
Course.
And I love when people have a list of okay, these are the things you got to do. So let's talk about keywords here for a sec. If you were going to try to determine, let's just say that you were focused on one of the things you give away are freebies that have recipes in them. Let's just say.
I have clients that do that. So yes.
That's perfect. So if you were helping them do the keyword research, what's the best way to hammer that in and make sure that you've got the right keywords?
Okay. Hopefully you've already got some keywords that you are using on your website, that you are using when you are talking to people. You've got kind of some idea of a framework. And what you do is then you go into Pinterest and look up those keywords and see if in Pinterest, because it's sometimes a little different, if in Pinterest, those keywords actually pull things that you would want to compete with, or if they pull something completely different.
Okay.
Because sometimes they do pull something completely different and you're like, I really don't want to compete with those people. Right. It's especially because the fitness people are totally different from the nutrition people, but they use a lot of overlapping keywords. So you have to be careful when it comes to things like Pinterest to see, is this keyword going to pull more of the people who are doing weight loss programs, the people who are doing recipe-ish stuff, or the people who are doing exercise programs? Which group do I want to pull? And is this keyword going to get me there?
Okay. Love it. Okay, perfect. So that totally makes sense. You have your sort of framework from your ideal customer research, and then you're going to hone in on searching some of those keywords in Pinterest to just make sure that the competitor, the market, looks like your market instead of being on one side or the other.
Absolutely.
And then when it comes to, then you're going to take your image, and you had talked about having 20 different templates. So would this be, whenever you give out a freebie, you should have 20 different templates that's what you're going to be using to pin those 20 different templates?
Yes. So the way that it works, and I just did a video where I screwed up the math on this, so I'm going to do the math correctly this time. If you have 20 pin templates for your one free thing, that's 20 pins, and you have 10 boards that you could pin it to. That's 200 pins.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a lot of pins.
Yeah.
A lot of content, right? So even if you're pinning 10 or 20 times a day, or 30 times a day, Pinterest likes between 20 and 30 times a day. Again, another reason for Tailwind, because holy crap, who wants to do who wants to be on Pinterest 30 times a day just to pin one pin? Kill me now. But so you are scheduling those pins, and you've got 200 pins. That takes, but if you're interspersing that with other people's pins, that takes you out to a month even without any breaking a sweat. It's pretty good.
Yeah. And so let's talk about boards here for a sec then. So the idea makes sense. You have 20 different templates that you could have. And then would you recommend changing the title of the freebie within there as well? Or as long as you're using different images and like that is good enough for 20 different pins?
The most amazing part of Pinterest, if you are changing either the picture or the title,
okay, that's a different pin.
they count that as a fresh pin.
Love it. Okay.
So you could, in theory, use those then 20 pins and change the title and do like 3 or 4 runs of it's mind-blowing the amount of content that you can reuse as opposed to one Facebook post or one response to somebody else's Facebook post and trying to get that long time engagement. That's fantastic for, really building know, like, and trust factor. But Pinterest, you can do a lot of that heavy lifting without all the effort. It's just so much easier.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. You're speaking my language, because I always talk about the non-Hey Girl hustle. Like that is like,
launched on YouTube today is why Hey Girl marketing sucks. Please stop doing that.
Yes. I love when thinking about marketing efforts, I love things that are like, it's sort of like a once and done. Meaning, you put it out there once and then there's just this ripple effect of that one thing getting multiple hits over and over again without having to send like another damn Hey Girl message. Like, I love that. You and I are just on the same page, speaking the same language. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of the things that I like to tell people is when you're talking about Pinterest, you want to have at least 4 or 5 places to send people so that you have then, that 200 pins that I talked about times by, say, 5 places that you're sending them, that's 1,000. By the time Tailwind gets through those 1,000, you can start over again with the exact same pins, right?
So that would be like every time you add in a new URL that you're sending them to, that's a different pin.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you would want to also create new graphics, but you're using that template. So it's super easy to just pop a different picture in or replace the word on it. And that's another big secret that a lot of people who are in the recipe niche don't always do. And anybody who sells products, they tend to just put like this static picture of the thing.
Okay.
So they've got this beautiful picture of whatever it is that they're selling, but they're not putting any calls to action on it. They're not putting any other graphics like an arrow that tells them where to find the link. Nothing. They are just, this pretty picture. And usually it's with a white background. And that is kind of boring and kind of blah, and it doesn't make you stand out. And this is also, I have a lot of woo clients as well. And so for them as well, you want to stand out. You want to use colors that pop in the feed, that you want to use colors that are a pattern interrupt. I'm a really big believer in NLP. And if you are the same as everyone else, yes, that's great. If that's your branding, that's fantastic. Your pins should not necessarily follow your branding rules. You are allowed to break the rules there. And in fact, I encourage you to, because the more poppy your pins are, and people tend to play it safe when it comes to their websites and their branding colors and stuff. I am guilty of that as the next person. Mine is a theme of grays. And yet, Pinterest, if everyone is doing grays and pale pinks and maybe some purples and whatever's, it's not going to grab you. It's not going to give you that edge where you're like, oh, that one caught my eye. I'm surfing along on this little teeny tiny screen with these little tiny dots. What's the one that's going to grab my eye? It's going to have a color that is different from everybody else, that still is in a nice color palette. It's going to have great big words that I can read even on that little, 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch square. Mm-hmm. And it's going to make me want to click. Those are the 3 things that your pin has to have.
Okay. And so 2 things. You said NLP. So is that neuro-linguistic programming? Yeah. Okay.
It is. I actually was a life coach before I fell into this.
Okay.
And NLP is one of those things that it's kind of an underpinning for all of our psychological buying reasons. When you can get past our skeptic and talk to the amygdala, you are doing a much better job of marketing. When you can talk directly to that inner child and say, okay, girl, you need this. You need this now. Let's go do that right now. That is where you are going to see the most success. If you can't do that, you're not going to convert people. It's a little bit of an art.
Yeah, love that. Okay. And so let's talk about these 10 boards. So let's say you have a freebie and it's recipes, let's just say. Okay. So what could your 10 different boards look like, for example? Would it be like, one could be like barbecue recipes, or like how would you advise like splitting those boards up?
Depends what your goal is. Okay. If your goal is, say, for example, I have one coach, she is a midlife women's nutritionist. So she helps women in midlife with adrenal burnout, with thyroid issues, with that muffin top that won't go away, with hot flashes, with those stupid perimenopause and menopause symptoms. She helps women with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, her boards say things like recipes you and your family will love, vibrant midlife health through food. And you're probably, if any of your audience are smart, they're going and Googling her right now. Her name is Denise Carr. Vibrant midlife health through food. She has obviously her brand board, which is her business's name. That's very important. You should have one of those. She's got a couple of other boards that speak directly about thyroids, about adrenal burnout, about menopause and perimenopause. She's got a couple more boards for recipes. She has just a variety of boards based on her keywords, basically. So what we're doing is we're taking all of that keyword research that we did, and we're keyword stuffing the board names and the board descriptions with as many of those keywords as possible. The goal is not to have the boards be standalone boards. The goal is to have all of your accounts set up so that every single thing that you pin can be pinned in at least half of those boards. So they're all interconnected. They might be the same topic, but they're coming at it from a slightly different angle. So some of them are going to be more health. Some of them are going to be more food. Some of them are going to be more, general self-care items. But they're all kind of interconnected, and you can use all or some of them to promote your thing.
Yeah. So it could be like you have a board that has the word wellness in it, and another one has health, and another one has nutrition. And there might be certain things that can go in most of like 50% of your boards. So it's like knowing the keywords that your ideal customers use and then being able to cross pin those to the different boards.
Yes. Now, you do want to give Pinterest a little more information than health.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to give Pinterest as much information as possible. So
Okay.
midlife health, or early 20s health, or busy mom health, or, whatever your thing is, autoimmune disorder health, or something that gives Pinterest more information, as much information as you can share with Pinterest, so that they know who to point your pins to based on their search history. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I see like this could be like mommy and me fitness, or prenatal fitness, or fitness and health, or whatnot. So that totally makes sense. So how does Pinterest know what to serve up? Is it based on an algorithm that person, so me, for example, that all would have come up for me, right? Like all these things like baby girl's nursery and all these things. So it would look at that and the algorithm would determine, okay, I'm expecting a girl, prenatal, like all those things. It would just formulate that these keywords apply to me.
Yeah, it's very much like Google. And we think about that and we're like, oh, that's creepy. But it also means that whatever our life stage is, we're being helped along by this technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of invasive a little bit, but it's also really helpful. I would prefer at my stage of life to not be shown a lot of baby stuff because I only managed to have one and I wanted more. So that's depressing to me. That would really hurt, right? Yeah. Whereas, and it's not really applicable to me because mine's only a teenager, and if he comes home with a baby, I'll kill him. But it's that whole idea of what stage is this person at? What are their interests? The way that Pinterest is more like Facebook or YouTube is that they want you to stay on the platform as long as possible. And they do generally do a fairly good job of that. I think the average person stays on for about 98 minutes a month. It's a fair amount of time. Yeah, it's almost 2 hours. So their goal is to keep you on the platform by showing you things that are related to what you've already searched for or clicked on that you might like more or that you might like. So, but they're also very, very open to the idea of people clicking off of it and going onto the things, because that helps them as well, because they're starting to get into ads, which is a whole other beast. They're starting to get into ads. They are, their goal is not just that whole staying on the platform. Their goal is staying on the platform and converting, because they are a search engine and not a social media platform.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, I love that. So then when it comes to your free Facebook groups and the things that you want to be promoting, let's say we're building a funnel. Yeah. What are the key things you had mentioned at the beginning, that the freebies, lead magnets, whatever you want to call them, those are really important to be pinning, as well as your free groups or free group, depending on if you have multiple ones of those. Is there anything else that you would definitely recommend that you're pinning?
Depending on what you're selling, you can sell paid items directly off of Pinterest. Like I said, they do have a really good conversion rate for paid items as well, with a high cart value. So if you're selling products, go for it. If you're selling services, courses, that kind of stuff, low dollar stuff tends to go over better than high dollar stuff. So if you are selling like an under $25 knowledge product, that would be a really good fit for Pinterest. Okay. And then, of course, one thing to always keep in mind is if you do have a freebie, make sure you've got an upsell on the damn thing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So you've got your 20 to 30 pins as part of what you're doing daily. What kind of other content is best to share on Pinterest?
Oh, gosh, really anything. The nice thing about Pinterest is you can point pins anywhere. They don't have to be your stuff. So if you are an affiliate marketer, point them to your things. If you are a network marketer and you hate the network side and you just want to sell the products, point them to the products. If you are a blogger point them to your blogs. If you have a YouTube channel, point them to your YouTube channel. If you have Facebook stuff, point them there. If you have a Facebook page that you want to promote, point them there. If you want to send them to Amazon because you've got an Amazon affiliate link, send them there. It all helps, and your tracking links stay on any of that stuff. So wherever you want to send your traffic, send your traffic. Just make sure, this is an important one, pins live forever. Pins from 15, oh my God, Pinterest's been around forever. Pins from 15 years ago, when Pinterest was brand new, are still on the site. You can't remove them from everywhere once you've launched a pin into the world. As soon as it's been resaved to a new board, to someone else's board, you no longer have control over it being out there. So your pins will be shared forever. So that link needs to stay live as long as possible. And if it doesn't stay live, you need to have a redirect on it, because there is nothing worse than saying, oh my God, I love this thing. Especially if it's a free thing or whatever, it's going to leave a sour taste in your potential customer's mouth if they're like, oh, I want that. And then they can't get it because the link is broken.
Right.
Because you stopped selling it or you stopped giving it away or whatever. They're like, well, I'm never spending any money with that person ever again.
Yeah.
Like, it totally is that push away energy, right? And you don't want that. You want the pull toward energy.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. Okay. You have given all of us so much to think about. This is awesome. So, Sherisse, where's the best place for people to be able to find you and follow you and learn more about you?
They can find me on my website at SherisseMarie.com. I do have a free Quick Start Success Guide that they can grab off of that homepage. They can find me on YouTube on Sherisse Pins, Pinterest, obviously, at Sherisse Pins, and Facebook at Sherisse Pins. So there you go.
And Sherisse is SHERISSE. Perfect.
Yes,
I just wanted to make sure I knew there were 2 S's in there. So that is
totally
awesome.
3 S's and 2 E's.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Sherisse. I so appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely. If you're ready to turn your Beachbody dream into a Beachbody business, I have something special for you. Business Boot Camp for Fitness Coaches will help you overcome the overwhelm of never knowing what to post so you can show up consistently on social, get off the icky hey girl hamster wheel, and finally see more engagement from customers who enthusiastically slide into your DMs to join you. This Facebook group is totally free to join. Head to ashleyshaw.ca/bootcamp to sign up now. And just for joining, you'll get 5 totally templated social media posts that work, accountability and camaraderie in our private Facebook group, and that post-workout feeling of accomplishment. See you there. Again, you can head to ashleyshaw.ca/bootcamp to sign up now.